Hey everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, we're gonna do a hero guide on Brokkir. Alright, so I'm here on the test server. This is a separate server, very limited to only a few CCs. This does not affect the global server, and it's not the Forerunner server. That's completely different. Just want to put that out there now. So, I have had a first look at Brokkir, and yeah, he's wonderful. He's Frosty Azor, right? Let's give him a spin. Really nice aesthetic, cool dwarf, pun intended. Really cool. Love his look, love the glow. Love the ice or frostiness around him. And yeah, he does look a lot like Azor, right? They're the Song of Fire and Ice, maybe? But alright, aesthetic aside, he's a little badass. We know this already. So let's pull up his details. So with frost in his veins, Har's blacksmith freezes those who stray too close and shields allies with ice. So he's defense focused and shields. He's got very good base HP and base defense. He is super tanky, very easy to keep alive. Cost of 19 is a little higher for some of the tanks, but not too bad overall. Block of 3 is solid, definitely want that as well. And yeah, he does have an exclusive artifact, but I actually put Oleg's Wall on him instead. Increases block by 1, just like his artifact actually does as well. So increases block by 1. When applied with freeze, the hero restores 10% HP and increases defense by 10%. So he does have this exclusive artifact that you can get in higher stages of Void Rift, but most people don't have that yet, but you should be able to get Oleg's Wall, which is really great. So having a block of 4 is going to be really amazing as like a defender. And something like Gear Raid 2, some of the crazy arena stages and the ones you can actually use a defender, maybe sustain DPS, or well, Artifact Material Raid, which is the thing I'm probably going to show you guys. Now, I did show some of this very similarly in my video for Valeria, so it might be a little bit repetitive, but it does cover the basis for him and where he's really good. So before we get into that, let's take a look at his skills. Alright, first, his talent reduces adjacent allies' damage taken by 10%. If the hero is inflicted with freeze, the reduced damage is increased to 30%. I could definitely use that in my Gear Raid 2. I'm so close to stage 19. The final wave of shrieks just get me. I could use all the damage reduction possible. He would be amazing for that. Alright, Frost Armor is his ultimate. He gains freeze and adds a shield equal to 120% of max HP during the effective freeze. The freeze effect will disappear with the shield. So he literally freezes himself and he can't do anything, but with that, he becomes like an immovable block of ice, and he can just sit there and take hits and be super tanky and block up to 4 if you're using the right artifact. Alright, his physical attack, basic, deals damage to 1 enemy, simple enough, but you're not using him for damage. His passive freezing breath, receiving damage has a 15% chance to inflict freeze on 2 enemies in range. If the hero has freeze, the chance will be increased by 20%. So 35% chance up to 45% chance, or 40% chance of inflicting freeze every time he takes damage on the enemy. So that's really good. So he can help give you some crowd control and stop the enemies as they come. There's also this passive called Iceberg. When receiving fatal damage for the first time, the hero gains freeze and becomes immune to all damage for 12 seconds. So the very first time he almost dies, he has this immunity, like the unyielding type effect, which is really wonderful for really hard content. Endgame hard content like Gear Raid 2, stages 19, 20, and 21. he is definitely a guy you want in there. Same thing for artifact, material raid, any of those higher stages like 16, 17, 18. That's what you're going to want to see. So let's take a quick look at his awakenings. His awaken one enhances his frost armor here. Inflicts freeze to up to 5 enemies around when the shield from the ultimate is gone. So a bonus added crowd control here for this ability. His second awakening is a 1200 HP increase. And then here we have Awaken 3. When the hero is inflicted with freeze, increases the healing and shield effects that he receives. Really good. Helps him to stay alive even better. And then Awaken 4, all damage reduction plus 8%. And Awaken 5, when Iceberg expires, restores 100% of HP. So the first time he almost dies, he's gonna freeze and then not die for 12 seconds. Then he's gonna completely heal himself. So that's just a really, really strong set of awakenings. He's a tanky beast, and I would love to have him on my account, honestly. I really would. So when it comes to the gear, you're just looking for anything to help with his tankiness or damage reduction. So the damage reduction set Guardian is actually pretty solid if you can get that on him. But overall, you're just looking for HP and defense all around. That's the whole focus of all of this: HP defense, HP defense, HP defense, HP defense. As you can see, I just put as much HP and defense as I could. Nothing crazy for my rolls of gear, even some pretty mediocre gear thrown in here. So kind of got to use what you got. And well, my test server account is not fully loaded with the best gear quite yet. So we're just using what we got, but it's plenty good enough. But all right, let's talk about where Brokkir is going to be best. So we have Void Rift on the screen there. I should mention that there's so many areas in Void Rift where you need good defenders. That is a huge key to success in Void Rift, is good defenders. So he is absolutely S+ tier for Void Rift. He's very, very good. Arena, you're not going to need him in anti-air, let's be honest. I think the others, let's see, probably, I think it's the sustained DPS, where you sometimes would use a tank, that one, or even the single target DPS maybe to stop the enemies, and then put a ton of damage around him. That could probably be okay as well. But yeah, he'll definitely be a monster for Arena or Void Rift. Coming over to the raids, of course, the promotion raid is a no-brainer. Any of those spots, which aka everything except Insignia of Marksman, where you need someone to block the portal, he's your guy. Endurance, of course, he'll be good there, where you need defenders anyway. Very, very solid. Guild Boss, you don't need defenders. He's definitely a do not use in Guild Boss. Artifact Material Raid is where we're going to go in and show him. He's very good for protecting your damage dealers there and stopping the waves of enemies from coming in to hit that Salazar and heal him. We don't want that. Tide, of course you have the need for Tide to have 3 defenders with the talent tree. Oh, I can't even see because I haven't done it on the test server. But yeah, of course in Tide, 3 defenders are needed for one of the bonuses that you can get for damage reduction. You definitely want to take advantage of that, so he can certainly be one of those. Faction trials, obviously for his faction he'll be a monster, but the basic one as well, just having one of those portals being blocked by him, you're going to be in a very good spot. You shouldn't really need him for the resource raids for experience or gold though, but if you're having trouble in some of these and you're having things pass you, of course having a defender to pause the enemies from being able to go through, and if you can't just smash your way through or have a good fighter in there that's tanky, then he can definitely be that guy. Gear raids. So Gear Raid 1 is more about damage, and he's just not going to do anything in Gear Raid 1. There's really no point to have him in there. Maybe to just do some crowd control, but if you're going to bring in crowd control in Gear Raid 1, you might as well bring in Mari to slow and freeze. You don't really need him there. Gear Raid 2, he's going to be a beast for. In Gear Raid 3, you can't use him in any way, anyway. Alright, so let's go ahead in on Gear Raid 2. I will show you kind of how I did. You know what? We'll just... Do I go to 17 or 16? Let's just go to... Actually, I'll show 18. Just like I did for the other video, I'm going to show how I would use him in Gear Raid to stage 18 or 19, probably. Now, I don't have this team really kitted out perfectly to be able to handle this, so don't mind it. It's a little bit messy. I will just leave Valeria in here. She's not really going to do anything, but I'm going to just show you how I'd use him pretty much. And just show you how tanky he really is. So if we're going in, you're going to have the roly-polies, right? He can be the first defender you place with a healer. Oh, and he just takes the boulder hit. He just takes it. And then you can bring in another damage dealer. Oops, not bruh. I just put Wrath in the wrong spot. Let's just put Valeria in there to help instead of Wrath because I messed up. But yeah, look at him. He just sits there and takes the hits. So he just survived that with no problem at all. And then these smacks from the boss, the shrieks. Oh, my healer died. Vortex died. I don't have the best gear on that Vortex. But look, he stayed alive, no trouble. He stayed alive, no trouble through the hits from the boss with the shrieks and the earthquakes. And he took 2 boulder hits and he didn't go down. That just shows you how good he's really going to be in Gear Raid 2. And he absolutely can be used in 19, 20, and 21 as well in the quirky strategies. But you know what? I am personally not a fan of Gear Raid 2 right now. I do not want to RNG the crap out of that to make a perfect team. But hey, we'll get there eventually. I can do it. It's just a gearing and timing. And yeah, there's no point to really show it all. That's kind of his role, to be one of the main defenders at the portal to stop your enemies. Simple as that for Gear Raid 2. We don't really need to do a full battle. For Artifact Material Raid, I guess we can go in here. Why don't we do, let's see. Let's just do stage 16. I think that's what I'm doing on my real account. I turned off Power of Dominance. Valeria, I would say, like, you're gonna probably use someone like Wrath. And if you have Velcra, she's really good for this too. Do I have gear on my Velcra? Kind of. Not the best though. Oh god, she's terrible. Maybe I don't use her. You know what? Let's, Velcra, Valeria, Arrogance, let's go ahead. I'll just put Valeria in here because she's the other 10 times hero. I'm just gonna show the strategy for kind of setting this up with someone like Brokkir. So he's not going to be the one you put in first. Don't put him in first. You want him to be on the sides. So this is still the perfect place for a Baron. Someone, or maybe a Soul, they could handle this role too, but I think Baron's just perfect for it. So once the boss just crosses the line, just to make sure we have the option to hit him with 4 if we want to. There we go. We want to make sure we can hit him from the bottom row. So now we're going to bring in a damage dealer and another damage dealer. All right. And then we're going to bring in our healer. So this is the start, right? You bring in your 2 damage dealers, you bring in the healer. Start popping ultimates when we can. Just do as much damage as possible. And then this is the job for Brokkir. So he's going to block 4 units. It's really, really good. So I'm going to bring in Azor, his twin brother, next. Oops. He's going to give a bonus to the other Nightmare units as well. So I think I'm going to wait to use his ultimate until there's some more enemies coming. But in the meantime, we're going to try to stop whatever enemies are coming from the top. So the other thing I'm going to do is throw some units in. So all right, here comes 4 units. So I'm just going to use his ultimate now. I'm using his ultimate now. We're blasting. He is holding back 4 of those guys. But unfortunately, he doesn't really do much damage. So that can be an issue. But as long as you kill the boss fast enough, you should be fine. And it starts to get a little crazy. This one got a little bit risky. Probably try not to let it get this risky. It might get messy. It might get messy. Oh no, but we're still blocking most of them with Brokkir. And Azor actually does pretty good damage over there to kill the other units. Azor is fantastic for this now. His buff to give him better damage allows him to be really strong in gear raid, or sorry, artifact material raid. Really, really strong. So this one got way too late. That was my mistake. I had some bad timing, but we still beat the boss in the end because that's how good our defenders were. I didn't have great damage. Valeria is not perfectly geared out. She's actually in pretty mediocre gear. She's got no crit damage. But with Azor doing damage on the other side, and the synergy of having 4 Nightmare Heroes and giving that attack speed bonus was really good. And then using a couple units at the top to help keep some of those enemies away at bay. Brokkir is on one side all alone, just holding back 4 enemies. Like, he just does such a good job to prevent the units from coming in. Very, very good for artifact material raid. Very good. But yeah, that's kind of the places I'd really want to show him. It's where it makes the most sense. Individual stages of Void Rift. I mean, literally every stage where you need a defender, he can be there. New campaign, Chapter 9 is hard. Chapter 9 is very hard. I have not actually done it. It just is cleared. But he can definitely, again, be one of the tanky people that protects a portal. He's going to survive the big hits from the bosses. He's going to give damage reduction to your allies. So he's just a very well-rounded defender and probably the best defender in the game. Let's pull up our friend Mabucket's tier list to wrap this off. Shout out to Mabucket because, you know, he put out this wonderful resource that is always a great reference tool. Let's see what he has to say about Brokkir. I remember him being high on the, first on the list of defenders. And now he's finally in the game, or about to be. So arguably the best defender in the game, Brokkir is not only has an incredible self-shielding, fatal damage resistance, and damage immunity, he also applies a passive damage reduction to allies. Brokkir is my favorite, or Brokkir is my defender of choice in any high damage content. Yes, exactly. High damage content, aka Void Rift, and high levels of Gear Raid 2, and even the blocks of Artifact Material Raid. He's just so strong for that. Easy to build, just purely focus HP and defense. Simple as that. Oleg's Wall is going to be great for him. He has his own exclusive artifact, which is also perfect for him. Again, with another block increase. I would definitely choose the block increase if you're using him in Artifact Material Raid over like something that just gives him extra defense or HP, because that is really, really what's helping to keep all of those enemies from swarming into the boss and letting our damage dealers focus attacking that Salazar. But yeah, really, really great hero. And I'm super, super happy that he's being added to the game. And I hope I pull one on Friday. But that's all for today's video, guys. Hope it was helpful. And I'll see you in the next one.